Welcome to the Strategic Oracle, the transmission space where timing meets soul and wealth begins with the rhythm. Let's begin. We are in the start of Q4. It is October, and October is all about showing up. You want to be visible. You want to be true to you. You want to be in a sales mode. So, what does that mean for you? There's so many things going on. Cosmically, I will tell you that there's only three big things happening this month. We've got Pluto going direct on the 13th, Pisces going back into Neptune because Pisces is retrograde. That's on the 22nd. And then the big star configuration is Jupiter and Chiron are squaring off. That is all about you expanding into your worth. So the messaging from the cosmos is, it's weird. Pluto's making things more evident, and then Neptune's hiding things. So even though we don't have an eclipse, even though we don't have any personal planets or the luminaries in that space, we do have some pressures of kind of one step forward, two steps back, or it's a push-pull. And it depends on what your attitude is. So the core for October is to show up. And when you look at it from a practical or business perspective, it's Q4. We've got people who in business are looking at wrapping things up for the year. They're looking at making those decisions that they've put off. We've got the Fed who's lowered rates. They've signaled they're going to lower rates 2 more times. I'm not sure if they are. Let's just say they do it one more time. They're getting a lot of pressure from the administration. But even if they do, it's making things more volatile. So even though it costs less in theory to borrow money, the business confidence isn't there. There's still enough volatility due to AI. There's still enough volatility. And how are we reacting to it? You know, they're calling it the Great Reshuffle 2.0 because there's another big wave of people not liking the pressures from a corporate perspective. Ironically, not ironically, showing up. You know, you have to come back into the office. Now, that's been going on for a few years. However, it's now permanent. There's no relief in sight. There's just the drag of, being in a box, and people don't want to be in a box. Now, that's going to last for 20 years because Pluto is in Aquarius and there's no box in sight. So it's great for we entrepreneurs that love to innovate, that love to make things different, right? We want to have freedom. We want things to be unique. We don't really want to have a schedule. We don't want to be tied down. And yet, there is something to that routine of showing up. Now, if you've been listening to me for recently, then you know that I've been in billionaire rooms. And, it's so fascinating that I'm getting a kind of big cheer of like, hooray, that's so great. Thank you for sharing. That's so wonderful. We know you. We know you're going to disseminate information as you see fit and as it makes sense and as you can. And then there are others that are like, whoa, I'm doing a Heisman move right now. Like, get away. Like, absolutely, absolutely not. Now, you've just become part of the problem. You're getting swept up. You're getting greedy. I've heard it all. It's kind of cool. I kind of love it because this is how are we showing up, right? I'm tying it back to October. October is about showing up, and it's about your attitude, specifically when we get to the full moon on October 6th, which is a super moon. And I'll get into that in that episode. I'm just looking to see what time it is. Yeah, it's almost at midnight. So for some of you, it's going to say October 7th. Others of us, it's going to say October 6th. So I just wanted to clarify that. But Mercury is at the center of that moon. And so it's all about thinking. It's all about what your mind is doing. And so it's only a week after October starts. And it just called to me to talk about at the front end of this forecast episode because it's not quite thoughts become things, although sometimes the cosmos give us that gift. It's how are you either wrangling or leaning into your thoughts? and your thought patterns and what comes up for you when you're presented with something new. And so me saying, gee, I've gone through a pivot. Gee, I launched a book. I pulled the book. Gee, I'm in billionaires' rooms and I've turned my business upside down. For some of you, you're leaning in and you're like, ooh, tell me more. I want to hear all the things. And for others of you are like, oh, billionaires, and you have an impression. And everything's perfect, right? Like however you're feeling, whatever you're thinking is true to you. And that's what's really important, is to be true to you. So I will tell you that it's not really these big planets and these big star configurations that I've just mentioned, with Pluto and Neptune and Jupiter and Chiron. Of course, they're giving us the backdrop. But it's more the sun and the moon and the personal planets. So the sun and the moon being luminaries, that's how you illume. And the sun is in Libra. Now, Libra is beautiful about connection. So we're always leaning more into connection when we get to this time during the year, no matter what hemisphere you're on, because the sun is still in Libra until the 22nd. However, sometimes it's really complicated. Sometimes I have to say, gee, there's going to be power plays. There's going to be obstacles. There's going to be tightness. There's going to be confusion. There's none of that this month. And when I say none, of course, there's a little tiny bit of isolation at the end of the first week once we get to that full moon on the 6th/7th. But it's not the major conversation. And then there's a going deep because the sun enters Scorpio that latter part of the month, and because there's some Plutonian energy with the personal planets. And so that means excavate, that means make things evident. And that does mean that you are going to be somewhat uncomfortable because things are going to be brought up that you don't really want to look at. Guess what? It's all in your attitude. I got to tell you, I find something janky about me and I'm like, huh, it takes me a hot minute to be like, gulp, okay. And then I say, okay, roll up my sleeves. What am I going to do about it? Is it something that is weirdly, even though it seems in the negative, is it something that serves me? Is it something that has served me and I'm ready to let go of? Is it something that I'm then going to wrangle with, just get my mind around it, just figure out what to do? And then, how am I going to heal to move through it? Is it simply an acceptance after the awareness and then I can let it go? Or is it like, oh, wow, some sticking points here. I guess we're going to dive in. The reason why I'm going into that is because Q4, which we're at the start of with this month, is excellent for healing, particularly that Jupiter Chiron. It's all about who are you? How do you be true to yourself? And so that's where you can think about, am I showing up authentically? When I enter a circumstance or an interaction with somebody, do I walk away having a clear view of how I was during that interaction? Because it's all about you. It's never about them, right? And so am I second guessing myself? Do I feel like I have imposter syndrome, which is not always bad because you're in a growth scenario, so there can be seasons of it. Do I feel like I have a gyroscope that's been kind of spinning me around and I haven't been able to land? And oh, by the way, what do I want to do with about that? So the key to all this is, what do I want to do about it? Do I want to, Neptune's going to help us for the next few months, kick it down the road. You know what? I'm going to deal with it because right now I'm rolling up my sleeves and I'm focused on this one thing. And yes, that came up. I'm going to honor that it came up, but I'm going to put it on a timeline. Or is it, oh no, this is supposed to be a time of healing and I'm not healing. And oh no, I'm doing it wrong. And oh no, I haven't found my footing. And oh no, I don't know if I can. And oh no, everybody else makes it look easier. And oh, look at all the noise out there. And oh my God, yes, yes. Our entire lives from now to the foreseeable future is going to be wrangling with incredible change, big shifts, massive circumstances that look much bigger than us, and becoming comfortable being uncomfortable, becoming capable of handling the unknown and being true to you. So being really in touch with who you are. Now, we just exited September, which was all about inner guidance. So if you took that Virgo energy, she's so particular and she wants to tackle all the things. If you took advantage of that in September and you didn't let anything pass you by and you got to be further in touch with yourself and to have a little bit more of an internal mechanism of discernment, hooray. That's amazing because it's going to be a tool that you want to use on the daily. So, October, I have to say there's so much beauty in October. First of all, Sun in Libra. I mean, come on, yum. Beauty, design, architecture, synchronicity and harmony, calm. It's a Venusian energy. It's very civilized and gracious and diplomatic. It feels really, really good to be in that flow. The downside, as there always is, there could be the choice to be codependent or dithering or too compromising or too people-pleasing. We're here at the start of the month. We have a choice. Let's not do that. Let's be, what's in it for me? Not from a selfish perspective, but from a feeding yourself perspective. Because one thing I do know for sure is that when you are satisfied, you show up in ways that are true to you. You are able to deal in nimble ways with those ever-changing things. And you're at the ready to put your arms around things that are uncomfortable and unknown. So satisfaction is the key. And so what is really satisfying on the personal side? Answer that and make sure that you are fulfilling that. On the business side, I'm here to say that in October, it's to do outreach. It's to have conversations. It's to show up on stages. It's not to just do, we're going to do a reel every week and then we're going to post every day and then we're going to make sure we engage. Now, if that's in the flow for you and you adore that, absolutely. If you abhor it though, do what feels natural to you. I will say October's not the month to completely not show up on social media, but it is certainly the month to show up in the right rooms in the right ways. And so you can post once a week and still maintain a presence as long as you are having conversations with people who matter to you. And only you can decide what that is based on your ideal client, based on who your key collaborators are, based on what phase of the business you're in, based on what your goals are for this year and for next year, based on what opportunities you want to set up for yourself in the coming literally 18 months. So, happy October. And when we look at the intuitive tools, it's a prosperity card that comes up for us. So that feels beautifully in the flow. And this is the last month of the season of prosperity. So let's leverage that. There is red chestnut, which ironically, not ironically, is also the flower essence for 2026. And so we have the opportunity to not need external validation. But that sounds really dreamy. The spirit animal's rabbit. There's bravery there in showing up. There's fertility for things working out. And then there's lepidolite for the crystal. And lepidolite, it's so interesting to me because the sun's in Libra, right? So the sun's in Libra, and we can say there's balance because it's the scales and whatever, but we know that balance is about flow. And so, I'm kind of rocking gently back and forth. And when I think about lepidolite has two ways that it can show up. It can show up in a tumbled form, which has these clear quartz or white quartz, if you want to say that are somewhat shiny. And then it has like this smoky rose color and different variations of that. That's its tumbled form. When you look at it and it's in its mica form and its shiny form, that it's not tumbled and it's super shiny and it has like smoky purple color. And so lepidolite shows up in two ways. I love that. And if we go into the yin and the yang of that, it's how am I in my wholeness? I've written an article for The Edge magazine that will come out in the first week that talks about wholeness and really gives great insight for people and by those intuitive success signatures that I adore talking about. And then I've written an article for LinkedIn, which this is going to be my pattern every month. It's going to be to write the cornerstone article for the month. That will be on my blog. Of course, that's posted. It gives you all the weekly. I'm giving many more business tips. Of course, you have the intuitive success signature tips. You've got all the magical tools, etc. And then off of that, I am looking at it from a very intuitive lens and perspective for the Edge magazine. And then I'm looking at it from a strategic leadership and business lens for LinkedIn. And they all tie together. And they are coming out at the top of the month just so people can get the information. And then you can look at those and digest them throughout the month. And then another more evergreen podcast, because I do want to have some evergreen material, because, the monthly and the moons, this is why I stopped the weeks, guys. Everything was just throwaway, right? So anyway, so how was I showing up for me? It was like, less is more. And so that could be for you too. And when I think about October and I think about the weeks, like I said, other than an isolating factor at the end of the first week, and there's some beautiful depth that comes in so you can do some problem solving in that third week, it is a really positively flowing month. And when I look at business tips, you definitely double down on how you want to show up and be visible. Look at your partnerships, collaborations, networking, rooms, the way you come together with people, even your client roster, and do an audit. It doesn't have to be formal, but just kind of take like a litmus test of like, okay, do I have most of the people on these lists and in my world that are really where I want to be, for the 2.0 version of myself? Or is it, I am regenerating the same things and yet my dream is looking for something different? Really look at your sales and your pipeline and who you're bringing in. Look at the conversations that you're having, whether it's messaging or on a stage or intimately one-on-one, and see what's coming out of those. See how they're landing. Look at people's response, because that gives you a ton of information. Because what worked even 3 or 4 months ago might not be working now. And so get really clear about that. And if you have any negotiations going on, you maybe kicked them out of September because of the eclipse, and you don't want to do them in November because we have another Mercury retrograde coming on. Yeah, do some negotiation. It's going to be super clean. There's definitely the opportunity for win-win. So now, for everyone who has their intuitive success signature, and if you don't, go ahead in the show notes, you can get the link. There is so much opportunity here, but we each have a different way of coming into it. And so for you, wives strategists, you might actually almost be overwhelmed with all the opportunity. Take your time. Say, you know what? I just need a beat. Take the beat. Go into your beautiful strategic mind and determine the best timing and priorities for you. Intuitive visionary, you adore this month. The things are opening up. They feel really big. They feel really luscious with expansion. And so make sure you're spending times in the right rooms and bringing people towards you in the ways that serve you. Collaborative Explorer, this is literally your month. It's all about connection. And so every single week of this month is made for you. You're the one who really wants to do that audit. For you, ruling warrior, you are getting ready for 2026. The seeds and the relationships and the people that you talk to now, yes, you will get sales this month, but more importantly, you're going to be laying the groundwork for even bigger sales in 2026. Creative Superstar, the third week is really luscious for you because you get to come into yourself a little bit more and do another swirl of creativity and gathering. So if you're feeling a little bit overly expended in the first 2 weeks, no worries, you've got the third week to really drop it back into yourself. And Loving Alchemist, the month gets progressively better for you because it gets deeper and deeper, and that's really your vibe. So you can achieve your goals. It's just, you're going to just feel better as we go through the month. And so all in all, October is a yes month. And as always, I'm going to say with discernment, right? So fingers crossed that you've gotten a little bit more clear about your inner guidance and how you adore to step into that. And if so, beautiful. If not, take the opportunity to do it now. Libra is a really good energy for that, in addition to Virgo being a good energy. So October is yummy. Q4 is setting you up for all the opportunity in 2026. And so let's have fun, let's connect, and let's leverage all of this cosmic and business energy. Until next time, happy soul tidings. You've been listening to the Strategic Oracle, where success isn't scaled from speed, but from soul. If this stirred something real, follow it. Apply for activation, enter the vault, or pause right here. Integration is leadership too. Because the truth is, you were never meant to chase the timing. You were meant to become it.